$37.72. April lean hogs 45 cents lower at $98.57. I'm CJ Miller. Who's your ag today? Timely, relevant, credible.
Looking for a hard-to-find item you can't find in the stores? Maybe you'd like to sell a few items you no longer use or need. Maybe you're looking for help around the house or yard. Tradio is the answer. Every weekday following your 9 a.m. news, join Joe Happel and Jeff Wugazer for Tradio on 96.7 The Eagle. It's your time to call the Liquor Vault on-air lines at 362.
Your callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. The Liquor Vault on-air line is now open for your calls or texts at 219-362-0522. This is Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
I'm back. Hey, everyone. Welcome to Sound Off. Good to have you. It's been a good week off. I got to go to Alabama, to Orange Beach. Did you know that there are places in America that actually have the sun? I discovered that this week, and it was wonderful. And I'm sure you probably didn't even notice, but I'm back now, and it's good to be back. We've got a lot of great shows lined up for you, including today. We've got Liz Bergeron, who's one of the Republican candidates for the LaPorte County Commissioner spot. But I might have some cobwebs. There might be some, getting stretched, getting back into it. So I need your patience with me. The primary's heating up. We got Easter this weekend. We got to do it all together, all right? Today's Monday, April 11th. It's a good day. If you've got a question for our guest today, 219-362-0522, or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. If you're streaming with us through Facebook or YouTube, just put it in the comments there, and I should get it here in the studio. All right, Liz, how are you? Welcome to the show.
I'm good, Nate. How are you? Welcome back.
Good. It was a good week away. So I hear this is your first radio interview. Welcome to radio.
Thank you. I'm glad my first time was on Sound Off. I'm very excited.
The premier political show.
Yes.
I don't know if you've heard this before, but it's the #1 rated show on this radio station. Dennis won't admit it, but it is. It's good to have you, though. How's the campaign going for you?
It's going. I've been active since pre-primary in August, and it's been an amazing experience. I'm a better person for it. Better resident, better neighbor, more educated and better voter, and I've had so much fun meeting so many different people.
So you are you've got one of the more interesting primaries, honestly, because there are 3 candidates running.
Yes.
And there's a lot of races that don't have any or just have 2. You're one of the few, other than the sheriff, that has actually 3 primary candidates.
Yes.
The Democratic candidate for sheriff. So let's talk a little bit about that. What made you want to get into running for office?
Well, my husband inspired me, to be honest. He ran last election cycle for Congress, as well as he also ran in the general for state representative for District 9, and he is again. And before that, I always thought politics was a game for other people, not quote unquote regular people. But then as he got into that world a little bit more by being a candidate, and I did, I really started to realize that it's not a game, it's a world. If you care about your community, care about your state, care about your city, get involved. We need people who care and who will actually serve the residents. So that's what got me thinking. And then I started sitting back. 2020 happened, the world slowed down, my job slowed down a little bit, and I started noticing things I didn't like, things being done I disagreed with, and said, well, I can do that better. Well, I have a better idea for that. So when it came time to decide what to run for, I decided to go for commissioner.
So in your candidate survey that HometownNewsNow.com put out, you had 3 kind of prong platform: growth, respect, accountability. So kind of unpack a little bit about why those 3 things are important to your campaign.
Sure. Growth. The economy is hard everywhere. We see it. I was talking to you before. I have 2 teenagers at home who eat. They're 2 teenage boys, and the grocery bills. I'm in Meyer, or Aldi or Kroger, I think every day. And we see those food prices increasing. We see taxes being discussed of going up, going down, not having them, having more. And then we look at, like we also discussed before, a brain drain, not only in our county, but in our states. So we need to work to bring those higher paying, more in-demand jobs that are going to attract our college graduates back to LaPorte County so they set down roots. I have kids. I'm a little biased. I want my kids to stay near me. I want them to set down roots in a county that I moved to and fell in love with. And I think by increasing the jobs that are in demand that are going to carry us into the future, bringing in more candidates, we're going to grow our economy. A fact that was illustrated in the Vibrant Community Study is one quote unquote high-tech job, be it robotics, IT, biomedical, will create 2 support jobs within that same company. And those 2 support jobs each create 10 community jobs. So right there, that's 23 jobs made. So we need to really work together. I think even advertising how awesome our county is, guerrilla marketing style, national ad campaign to bring people to LaPorte County. And when we grow, we have more money to not have to use taxes to replace. So that's the growth. Respect is just respecting our county and streamlining our government, making sure it works. It works for everyone. Everyone has a voice. We see commissioner meetings that were supposed to have public comment throughout the whole meeting. That hasn't happened. When we grow, when we get better and we get stronger and we become more efficient, we also save money. And just respecting the voters as they are the boss. We were saying that this is a job interview. This is the first round. The primary is the first round of job interviews. Our employer is the voter. So we get through the primary, you elect the person you want to see go to the next round of interviews, which is the general, and that's who you hire. That's who you vote for. And if they're not doing a good job, then it's time to replace them with the candidate you think will. So it's respecting the community. It's growing the community. It makes us stronger. It makes us more accountable. And it just makes us, what I want to be is the envy of the state.
All right, we've got Liz Bergeron on the show today. She's running as a Republican candidate for LaPorte County Commissioner. The primary is coming up here in May. We've got less than a month, actually, until the primary. Let's talk a little bit, because I know we're getting some feedback and stuff, and there's going to be a question here for you. And again, if you are listening, you have a question, you're welcome to call the Liquor Vault on air line 219-362-0522 or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com, and I'd be happy to ask the question for you. All right, so let's talk a little about this, the local income tax. The county council is supposed to vote on this, I think, tonight, assuming they actually do vote on it and don't table it, because I know there's a lot of questions going on. There's a lot of we did a survey on this on hometownnewsnow.com, and it was like 50-50, honestly, for people that support it and that don't support it. Now, the county commissioners don't vote on this, but all of them have come out and given their opinion on the lit tax. Where do you stand on the local income tax?
Well, I first want to say that I don't know if this is a fact that's known, but this does not apply to Social Security wages. This applies to self-employed and job wages. I've been in favor against just doing more research to really get a more solid idea on where I'm at. I want our first responders to receive the pay that they deserve. They do a job that without them, I don't know where we'd be. From fire to police to E911 operators, they need to have the income that keeps us competitive so we can keep them and we can keep them part of our community. I think whether we do a lit tax now or a lit tax in the future, that may be needed. However, we do have another round of ARP funds coming next month, I think somewhere around $10 million. We do have something.
It's a nice little chunk of change, isn't it?
It is. We have something called the County Adjusted Gross Tax Income. And what that is that's actually been in place for 30 years. Half of the revenue, more than half of the revenue collected from that tax has to go to property relief. The rest can be used as seen fit. So we have that. We have the ARP funds. A study was called for, and that hasn't been done yet. I would like to see our economy get better before we add another tax, but I want to use whatever funds we have available to make sure we take care of our first responders.
So to clarify some of that, just for our listeners, no, and then again, it's a nuanced thing.
It is.
Not totally against it, but not now. Maybe is what you would maybe.
I think we're all hurting. My job is, it's a really long title. Think of visiting social worker. I'm actually going to describe my job on my Facebook, Liz for LaPorte County, because I could literally go on for hours about what it is, what I do. I drive 5 counties throughout the state: Lake Porter, LaPorte, St. Joseph, and Pulaski. So I feel it at the gas pump. I feel it at the grocery store. We're all feeling it. I don't care how much money you make. We're all feeling it. Right now, let's use what we have before we go and add another tax. But let's use what we have to get them what they need.
All right. We've got Liz Bergeron on the show today. Liz is running as a Republican candidate for LaPorte County Commissioner in the May primary. If you have a question, 219-362-0522, or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. If you're streaming with us online, just put your question right in the comments. I see we've got one coming in. Let's get to our caller, though. Hey, thanks for waiting on the line. Thanks for listening to the show. Happy Monday. What's your question?
Thank you for coming on the air, Ms. Bergeron. This is Steve Hollifield. I like your idea there about let's quit shoving this lit tax down our throats as fast as they can do it. For some reason, they're trying to hide something. But I have 2 quick questions. One, as a county commissioner, would you feel the need to determine how many, since we have so many departments and so many employees in the county, to determine which are essential, which are not essential, which could be outsourced to help find relief, to find money for the first responders? And second of all, in January of 2023, if you're elected, and Shaw Friedman comes into that meeting room expecting to be the lawyer again, will you vote yes or no? Thank you.
Okay. I'm glad to talk to Steve again. I talked to him last week. He's a great guy. Those are 2 awesome questions. First, I want to talk about determining what department is essential or non-essential. I have spent the last 10 plus years of my professional career managing resources, making sure budgets are going as they should, making sure budgets are effective and not costing companies too much money. I'm a huge fan of streamlining. So I think that the answer to that question is something that I would be able to answer better once I got into office and really saw what positions could be combined, what offices could be streamlined. Are we going paperless as much as we can in every department? Social Security did that decades ago, where it was no more paper checks. It was all direct deposit. They saved millions of dollars. I hate saying we need a study, because sometimes I believe we just need to use common sense. But really look at each department, look at their needs, see what can be trimmed, what can be combined, what could be streamlined, is something that should always be happening every day, every month, every quarter of our government, whether it's commissioners or county council. How can we be more effective? For the second part about Shaw Friedman, yes, I would vote to replace him with another commissioner board attorney. So that's my answer to that second one.
So then for that first question, there's nothing that you've seen, because you said you've been kind of introducing yourself to some of these departments. There's no glaring things that you've seen that have been wasteful or anything like that so far.
No, but I think you see more once you get into a position where you can truly peek behind the curtain.
Okay.
My first question would be is, how much more paperless can we go?
Okay.
That's, I think, the very easiest and most effective cost-saving measure we could take right away. Is also, are we printing out documents to get signatures, or are we using programs like DocuSign or iAnnotate or HelloSign, to where we can just get them to people without having to print out a copy and then run it to the departments? So that's where I would start.
All right, we've got Liz Bergeron on the show today. We're going to take our first break. If you have a question, please do give us a call, 219-362-0522. You can call us on our line here in the studio. You can also email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. Or if you're streaming with us online, just put your question right there in the comments, and I'll ask it here real soon. Hey, I want to thank you for listening. Don't go away. We'll be right back here on 96.7 The Eagle.
car problems often strike at the absolute worst times, but you can rest well knowing that Cannon's Automotive Service is here for you and dedicated to get you back on the road with prompt, efficient, same-day service. The same Cannon's commitment that LaPorte has trusted for over 50 years. Cannon's Automotive Service, now with 2 locations, 710 Tyler Street and 909 Boyd Boulevard.
We're Cannon's Automotive. We fix everything.
Hi, this is Andy Heineck, Democratic candidate for Sheriff of LaPorte County. As a military veteran and a 22-year member of the Sheriff's Office who has worked in every division, I believe I have the experience to be your next sheriff. My goals once elected are to reduce recidivism amongst our inmates, expand our mental health services, and to focus on the heroin epidemic. I've dedicated my life to serving our community, and I'm asking for your support. Please vote Andy Heineck for Sheriff. Paid for by the committee to elect Andy Heineck Sheriff.
Since 1922, Hamilton Grove has been dedicated to providing the highest quality housing and care for older adults. Hamilton Grove Assisted Living has studio and 1-bedroom maintenance-free apartments that offer assistance with daily independent living. They also accept the Medicaid waiver. Hamilton Grove is a religious-based, non-for-profit, handicap-accessible, and equal housing opportunity partner. Call them for your personal tour, 574-654-2250. Live here for the best of your life.
Let's look at the forecast at 96.7 The Eagle, brought to you by the Pink Sheep Children's Boutique.
The charming and affordable Pink Sheep Children's Boutique has so many fun themes and styles for boys, girls, and moms. Come see for yourself. The Pink Sheep Children's Boutique, 604 Lincoln Way in downtown LaPorte.
Michiana weather.
Chance for scattered rain showers this afternoon. Otherwise cloudy. High of 61. Westerly winds 8 to 15 miles per hour. 39 tonight. Slight chance for scattered showers. From the Weather Center at HometownNewsNow.com. Right now, 58.
Your opinion matters. We invite you to share it by calling or texting the Liquor Vault on-air line at 362-0522. That's 362-0522. Now, back to Sound Off on 96.7 The Eagle.
Welcome back, friends. You're listening to Sound Off. My name's Nate Laux. It's good to be back this week. We've got Liz Bergeron on the show today, and then we've got Jim Pretzel on Friday, so that'll be fun as well. Lots of good primary candidates that we're going to be able to talk to, so you can introduce yourself to who you want to vote for here in less than a month. Maybe some of you have already done it. You can early vote, these kind of things. And Heather Stevens in the election board is working on lots of stuff there to make sure that voting is accessible to everyone. But whatever you do, whoever you vote for, just vote. All right, let's get to our first caller. Hello. Thanks so much for listening to the show. Liz Bergeron's in the studio with me. What question do you have for her?
Yeah. Hey, Nate. Hi, Liz. Following up a little bit with what Steve Holyfield was saying, and I've said this for a few years, and it was something I wanted to try to implement when I was on the council. Didn't make my third term, and so it went by the wayside. But, the idea could be, Liz, is not necessarily for the elected to make an evaluation of all of the departments and that, but to call in a consultation firm and have them come in, look at our, 600 full-timers and a couple of hundred that are part-time, and go office by office and see where we might be a little fat in an area or we might be lean. And so we can, we're not looking to take anybody's job or that, but I've always said with people retiring and that when we know that job isn't necessary, that it doesn't need to be replaced. And quite frankly, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of those that are elected to say, hey, we went out, we got this study. Now, it's a guideline. It doesn't have to be, exactly what we go by, but I think you get where I'm coming from, and that could be an idea. One other thought process was, and I don't know what you're thinking about this is, but in county government, there is really there's no punching clocks. There's no accountability system as far as when somebody's in the office or when they're not, or if they're supposed to be. So these are some things that I guess that, when we start talking about adding more money and taxes, that we want to look at ways that we can cut from what we already what we already have out there. Okay. Thank you so much, and I'll let you answer.
All right, a lot there. How do you want to respond to some of that?
That was a lot. I think it's a great idea. I think it does relieve the pressure from elected officials. There's no way that any one elected official can know every department, their ins and outs, and what's best for them. So I think getting some outside input is a really good idea. I also think that cross-training is a really good idea. I've done that since, started working at 23, where everyone was cross-trained for other departments, other positions, to sort of fill in if there wasn't enough. I don't ever want to eliminate a job unnecessarily, or just because one person says, oh, you're not needed, you don't matter, you're not efficient. So I think it does take an outside viewpoint. As far as the accountability not punching clocks, a lot of our elected officials, commissioners especially, it's considered a part-time job. And I think when you're not there for a meeting or not there in the office, which you should be, you need to be out in the community so you can understand what your community needs are and be proactive instead of reactive by sitting in an office and waiting for someone to come and tell you what's going on. Be out there. Spend your time that you're not at the office or not in a meeting going to the different towns like Hannah, La Crosse, learning about oftentimes we look over the smaller towns, learning about what's going on with them, their issues, their concerns, and being able to be proactive is a really good use of time if you're not in the quote unquote the office.
All right, here's a question we received through Facebook. So Mayor Dermody has been pushing a north-south corridor around the city of LaPorte, and there's obviously lots of people for it, lots of people against it. This question says, there's a lot of opposition to the promised corridor project. The current commissioners don't support it. What is your position?
My position is based in concern that people will lose their houses, or possibly farmers will have parts of their land landlocked. And I don't ever want to see anyone lose their house or lose part of their farmland that's been in their family for generations. So I think we need to look at, is there a way to accomplish the same purpose without negatively affecting people by losing their homes, losing their lands? Is it an overpass? Is it an underpass? Is it the bypass? Is that the only way to do it? If it is, I'm not a huge fan on punishing or affecting people that don't live where the problem is to solve a problem that doesn't affect them. But I also think we do need to move and progress forward. So I want to look for a way that homes aren't taken and land isn't landlocked before even saying that's the absolute right thing to do.
So on that one, still not sure if you're
still not sure.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Another question we received here. What's the plans? I don't know if you would know this or not. So what are the plans for the county highway property in Rolling Prairie after they move to the new location? Do you have any ideas on properties like that are unused but owned maybe by the county or anything like that?
Well, it's important that we know what we have and their value, their intrinsic value. There's been so much uproar about the county home. Well, that's been covered by a lot of different people. I don't know about the Rolling Prairie property, but whoever asked that question, if you want to send me a Facebook message or an email at lizbergeron@protonmail.com, I'll find out about what's going on and give you an answer. I hope that whatever they do with it is in the best interest of our county. And if elected commissioner, I will make sure that it is done properly and managed wisely and done in the best interest of our county.
All right, let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for listening to the show today. We've got Liz Bergeron, Republican candidate for commissioner here in LaPorte. What's your question for Liz?
Hi, good morning. My question is basically, I'd like to know what you're currently unhappy with in the district and position in which you're running for. And if you do get the primary, do you think you could take the full midterm election?
Okay, thank you.
So what I'm currently unhappy with is just my district is District 1. So District 1 basically goes from east to west of our county. And it's a weirdly shaped, all the districts kind of had their odd shapes to it. It kind of goes up and down. I stay north of Cool Spring. I go down to, I want to say, I actually wrote down my whole district. North of East 600 North, in between 20 and West 450 North, down Muir Road to halfway between West 450 North and north of Cool Spring. So it really has a weird shape to it. I For District 1, I want to see more jobs for the whole county. I want to see more jobs come in. I don't think we're getting the job growth that we should. We had the mattress plant open, which was phenomenal. We have people working. They're not working at the wages that they should be that are effective for 2022, as well as there is a bunch of jobs promised that their other facilities have never come close to. So I want to make sure that when we bring in jobs, we bring in jobs that will meet our needs and allow our county to grow. I want to make sure that we're not being wasteful with county resources and their money and treats the county as if it is my job to serve and not the county's job to serve me. I believe elected to the general, I will absolutely take the general. If I had any doubt in that, I would not be sitting here today.
All right. So let's get to some more callers. One more before break here. Let's get to another caller. Hey, thanks so much for calling the show. What's your question for Liz Bergeron? Hello? You're on sound off. Nope. Oh, they're gone. All right. We've got some more questions coming in here. Here's one. What makes you uniquely qualified against the other two candidates, Connie Grammarosa and Nathan Patrick, to be the commissioner instead of them?
Well, I think that we all have unique talents and skills. I've actually had a lot of experience working in different positions. Currently as a case manager, I manage 53 individuals and their cases and their care, and then 53 provider teams. So juggling hats is something I have so much experience in doing, finding resources, overseeing budgets, being an advocate, a cheerleader, and even having that analytical skill. I've done things like backup workers' compensation adjuster for Major League Baseball, and that was really cool when I worked in Chicago. So that allowed me to do things like risk management and create litigation plans. I worked for a subcontractor out of South Bend working for Apple. So I was responsible for a large amount of employees and equipment, cross-country moves, setting up sites to where everyone had their needs met and we were able to meet our deadlines. And that I am proactive. I'm out there. I'm a regular person. I've known struggles. I've known successes. And I will be proactive. We have a lot of reactive government officials. We need to know what's going on in our county, in our towns, with our neighbors, so we can better serve them and our county.
All right, we're going to take a break here and get back to the show here in a few minutes, but we got to pay our lighting bills. So we've got some great ad buys. I mean, just stuff that's going to you're going to love hearing. It's going to stick with you. You're going to want to support them coming up here. So pay close attention to those and keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Ben Conowitz here, owner of LaPorte Seamless Gutter. My parents started LaPorte Seamless Gutter in 1982 with one goal in mind, really. Our customers' 100% satisfaction. And we are still providing the same customer service that Tim and Seal Conowitz started all those years ago. Give us a call today for a free estimate at 219-362-9972, or you can visit us on the web, www.lpseamless.com. 219-362-9972.
Vote Fagan 2022. Who is Sean Fagan? He's a lawyer. He's a Republican. Sean Fagan, running for LaPorte County Prosecutor 2022. Sean Fagan knows that LaPorte County is a great place to live, and he wants to keep it that way. Sean Fagan for LaPorte County Prosecutor 2022. Be safe. Be strong. Let's work together. Vote Sean Fagan 2022. This message paid for by Fagan for Prosecutor.
Need a lawnmower that works as hard as you do? Gravely's Pro Turn Z with top-line performance. Cut with a durable workhorse that won't break the bank. Think Gravely's Pro Turn Z for its professional pedigree at a lower price point. The Gravely Pro Turn Z comes with a 4-year, 750-hour commercial warranty that's inherited the unparalleled durability of the Gravely line. Gravely, with over 100 years experience. Make the move. Go Gravely. Go with a Gravely Pro Turn Z.
It's back. The radio auction is back Saturday, April 23rd after your 8 a.m. news. Join Debbie and Dennis Siddell, your auctioneer radio host, with great certificates for you to bid on from Westville Farm Supply, Sims Meat Processing, Pavey Excavating, Northside Barbecue, K Tool and Fire, Melt Kitchen at the Vault, J&K Flowers, Hadfield Pest Control, Casey's Lanes, and more. The next once-a-month radio auction is coming up Saturday, April 23rd on 96.7 The Eagle.
Looking for a professional matchmaker for your real estate needs. Call me, Jerry Lynn Troth, MTM Realty Group at 363-9203. Again, that's 363-9203.
Hey, who's hungry? Because I've got a deal for you. Dennis Adele here to introduce you something new to the Morning Mayhem. Every weekday at 6:55, it's Denny's Diner. Yep, Joe and I will cook up some trivia questions, and if you have the correct answer, you'll be the winner of a $20 gift card from either JJ's Side Out Bar and Grill, the Burger Barn Grill, JJ's Pizza Shack, Wanna Pizza, or Nowhere Barn Grill. So join us weekdays for Denny's Diner at 6:55 on the Morning Mayhem for your chance to win here on 96.7 The Eagle.
Thank you for tuning in to Sound Off. You can now text or email your questions directly to the studio. Call or text 362-0522 or email your questions to soundoff@967theeagle.com. This is Sound Off.
Welcome back to our final segment of Sound Off. We've got Republican candidate for LaPorte County Commissioner Liz Bergeron in the studio with us today. She's talking about our campaign and some of her candidacy here coming up. The May primary is less than a month away. Some of you have probably already started voting, which is a question that we have received. What is your thoughts? LaPorte is moving to electronic poll books, and there are many conservatives, and especially those Trump has talked about them, former President Trump. What are your thoughts on electronic poll books?
Well, I think that they are good. I think that we should always have a way to make sure we record our own vote, just to make sure we know who we're voting for, and a way that we can verify that the voting has been done properly. People are going to take advantage of voting. There's going to be possible manipulation, and it's going to happen. We need to minimize our ways to make sure LaPorte County stays as authentically as we have and as well as we have. Heather Stevens has been great at it. So whatever Heather says is going to be the best way to keep our election safe. I trust her and her judgment.
All right, here's a question. Ask Liz how she wants to help the black community in Michigan City, please.
Well, I think that in Michigan City, we've seen a lot of don't go where you're not uncomfortable. So we've had candidates that if they don't feel comfortable talking to a person or going to an area, they won't. And that, to me, is ridiculous. I think Michigan City is a great city that we're all in it together. And if anyone ever wants me to take time to talk to them, if I'm going to go door knocking even more in these last few weeks, and I have no problem going where other candidates haven't. And when I ask people, what are your issues? What would you like to see LaPorte County government do for you, do better, be better? A lot of times people don't answer because maybe they've never been asked that. But if I ask you that, I want to hear what your issues or concerns are. I've learned about issues and concerns from ditch cleaning to education to jobs to drive-through liquor stores and everything in between. I'm made better by learning about those things. And if I don't know something, I'll find out, I'll get back to you. But I want to hear what people's issues or concerns are. And so if I show up at your door knocking it with my business card, talk to me. I don't care what neighborhood, what color, what religion. We're all here to see our county better. We all want safe schools, safe streets, lower taxes, to have an affordable and successful way of life for ourselves and our kids. We're not that different. So let's talk.
So another question that I received here, and it's probably, other than the lit tax, the question that, or the topic we get the most about, which says something probably about my listeners. So if Indiana legalizes marijuana, and it goes to something like a Michigan plan where they let the towns or the counties decide what they're going to do specifically. Mm-hmm. Essentially, you can have a dry county or not. How would you vote for that as a commissioner? Are you in favor of marijuana legalization?
I think that Michigan did it the right way by leaving it up to each township area. I know like New Buffalo didn't want it, so they don't have it.
I think they're going now. Yeah.
They are going that way.
Yep.
I know Buchanan wanted it.
Yep.
They've had 4 or 5 pop up in Buchanan. Yep. So I think we should leave it to the voters. We should leave it, if it's passed by our elected officials, let's leave it up to each town, township, city to leave it to their voters to see what they want. I am amazed at what medical research we've seen go into marijuana, CBD, hemp, So I think leaving it up to each county is the best idea. And I can say that, yes, I would vote for it.
Mm-hmm. You would be in favor of at least allowing, if essentially I think what it is a lot of times the county has to decide whether or not they want it in here, and then the townships or towns decide whether or not those specific want,
But my main concern is I would definitely want to hear from LaPorte County and take into consideration where is the majority of the people wanting it or are they not wanting it? Because I serve them. So there may be times where I may personally disagree or disagree with an issue, but what do my constituents want? And that's how I would vote, is to represent them.
So one of the things that commissioners do is they press some of the state legislators, these kind of things, to make sure that LaPorte County and the residents in their county are not forgotten about. One of the things that people are pushing right now is, while gas prices are so high, that the state, and they've done this before, suspend the gas tax, which is 30 cents. And I can say this, again, I just got back from Alabama. Indiana by far had the most expensive gas out of anywhere I was. And so sometimes it was 50 to 60 cents cheaper in other states. So would you favor encouraging the legislator to do that in a time like this where people are struggling financially? Do you think that's a good idea? I mean, again, most people are for, hey, get rid of taxes, but what's your thoughts?
Well, definitely. I think maybe we should do it on a federal. I would like to see our president do a gas tax holiday, so everybody can benefit from a little break at the gas pump. I would love it. I'm filling up once a week to see my 53 people. I think it's up to our state reps to really look at the needs of their people, and we're all being affected by gas. So I would definitely encourage our state representatives, and I'm sure my husband is listening, so future state representatives, to suspend the gas tax so we have a little bit of breathing room.
All right, we've got Liz Bergeron, Republican candidate for commissioner here in LaPorte County. If you have a question, the Liquor Vault on-air line is 219-362-0522. We've got about 8 minutes left. You're welcome to call us or email me at soundoff@967theeagle.com. If you're streaming with us online, thanks so much for streaming. If you've got a question there, just go ahead and put it in the comments, and I'll be able to ask them because it'll get right to me here in the studio. So a question came in about the county home. The county home sold for $50,000 after a few years of it being closed. The county says they did not have any significant bids on it, and they showed it to people, and only one company bid for it. That company now is selling it. Now, I've noticed they've not sold it, so I think they've probably got it priced way too high. But what are your thoughts on the county home?
Well, first of all, this market is crazy. I've seen businesses go for 4 or 5 times more than I ever thought they would.
Yeah, it's a great time to sell. Terrible time to buy.
Yes, because there's nowhere to move to.
Yeah.
So, and that's a whole other conversation for a whole other day. I think Joe Haney did a great job pointing out the issues with the sale of the county home when he ran. I think it's a prime example of not being able to identify our own resources and not being able to manage them well. I know in my past professional career, if I had a resource that was worth and had the potential to be worth as much as it did, and I flittered it away, I would be having my belongings in a box and I would be walking out. It's hard. We always can go back and say this should have been done, that should have been done. There's no way to have known that in 2022 the market would be as high as it was. It really, to me, comes down to, I don't like the way it was done. It wasn't the main address that was used. It was an alternate address. We had a $30,000 generator that they bought for $50,000 for the generator and the home. My question would be, why, if previously you knew the home was worth so much, why did you take that bid? It could have been rejected. If we had used the right address and not the secondary address, there may have been more bidders. It's hard to tell what could have been looking back, but it's just another case of how the commissioners that were overseeing that, and other county officials and officials that weren't county officials but were still there, how they couldn't identify a resource and how they mismanaged it.
All right. We've got some callers coming in. Hey, thanks. Thank you so much for calling. We've got Liz Bergeron in the studio today. What's your question for Liz?
Hi, Nate. My question is to reevaluate that statement that she made about she wants to see a tax relief day or whatever you call it. Well, that's not what to do. I can give you some statistics on what. That tax is to help build infrastructure and roads. if you want to lower the price of the gas, go back the way we were and bring in the pipeline and have our own supply. I've got some construction industry literature here that if you lower the gas tax price of gas 3 cents a gallon, you'll take away $2 billion worth of money away from building roads and infrastructure. So let's see if we can re-answer that question that was so wonderful. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would love to see that literature. If you want to email it to me, again, my email address is lizbergeron@protonmail.com. I believe nationally we need to go back to energy independence. We were there before. We're not there now. I think we should absolutely... My in-laws are down in Louisiana. So they're in the bayou. They're in the oil drilling industry. And there's been a huge impact on that. There's been stop orders. There's been no more drilling, no more offshore drilling. We need to bring back drilling. We need to bring back the pipeline so we are energy independent. We were there before. We need to get there again so we can see the savings. However, I do think the tax holiday will help. It's short term, but it will help.
All right. Our final question here is, so there was a subdivision that was recently denied by the commissioners here in LaPorte County in Rolling Prairie. So, you know, again, a lot of people are talking about development. A lot of people are talking about attracting people. Realtors tell you there's not enough houses on the market. And so there's a lot of realtors upset about this. There's obviously a developer that was upset about this because, you know, there was no legitimate reasons. There's other subdivisions around there, so why not? So what are your thoughts on that? You know, do you think they made the right decision by not allowing that subdivision there? Do you think, you know, again, should the commission not play, you know, who wins and who loses there? So what are your thoughts?
Well, I read an article on it, and some of the reasons it was denied was concerns about being so close to farmland, spraying, water runoff. So I think we need to understand our agricultural community and the needs that farmland has, how we grow, how we manage that land. I don't think we should ever put a development so close to something that could affect our children. Just thinking about a chemical spray that a farmer would use getting on a child hurts my heart. I think if we understand our agricultural community, we can develop near them without crossing over and potentially exposing ourselves or our children to injury. I'm all for development. Let's bring in more housing. We have a housing issue nationwide. The market's crazy. I've heard that LaPorte County is the hardest county to develop new houses in, so we need to look at that and bring in the professionals. I'm not a real estate professional. I'm not a development professional, but let's develop safely to where whoever lives in that subdivision isn't at risk of being sprayed with farming chemicals or farming equipment, and the children can be safe.
So there are two subdivisions right around there. Do you think it was a mistake for them to approve those because it was right around the farmland?
I think we saw that with, I believe it's Meadowview. We see the issues of maybe rushing in to develop and not really understanding our land. We have a great economic development partnership that we use, as well as our government's really great at studying our lands. We need to use them more. We need to develop where it's safe, to where we're not looking 15, 20 years down the road and we have flooding in basements and people are really suffering and home values are going down. So it's proper development, it's wise development, and it's beneficial development.
All right. Hey, this was so much fun. Thank you so much for being on the show. Where can people find you online?
They can find me online at lizbergeron.com. That's my website. I'm super active on social media, super responsive. On Facebook, I'm Liz for LaPorte County. I always say for because I'm working for you guys. You guys aren't working for me. And my email is lizbergeron@protonmail.com. I'm going to be around everywhere for the next few weeks.
Your husband did comment real quick. Your husband did comment and says it's liz@lizbergeron.com.
Sorry, Liz. He's the computer guy.
Your social media manager, I think.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So he's the one that handles all that. If you see
either way, they'll get to you.
They'll get to me. If you see me at Meijer, because you will, or Aldi, stop me, say hi. You know, I'm usually like, these kids want more food. Oh my gosh, they eat me out of house and home. But I'm going to be knocking on doors. I am going to be in La Crosse on Saturday as the Easter Bunny at their Easter egg hunt.
Oh, good for you.
So come take a photo with the Easter Bunny. You're also going to see the bunny on the bike riding around Friday and at Fish Fries, because Friday is Fish Fry Friday. Say hi. Let's talk. I want to learn from you. I want I want your support and your vote on May 3rd. I also want to work for you and make LaPorte County better.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you so much for listening. On Friday, we'll be back with Jim Prussell, State Representative. So I hope you have lots of questions for them. You can email me at nate@hometownnewsnow.com. If you don't want to forget about your questions, I'll make sure I write them down for you. Hey, thanks for listening. Be good to yourself, be good to others, and keep listening to 96.7 The Eagle.
Thank you for joining us and voicing your opinion on this edition of Sound Off. The views on Sound Off are those of the host or callers and do not represent the opinion of 96.7 The Eagle, Spoon River Media LLC, or the sponsors. Sound Off airs every Monday and Friday at 12:30. Please mark your calendar and join us again for